Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is SoFlo Josh and we're here with the 2026 BMW iX M70. Now, I want to give a huge shout out to BMW of South Miami for allowing me to film this vehicle. If you all are interested in purchasing this BMW or any other BMW as well as their mini products, make sure to go ahead and contact them. They'll be able to assist you. Since we can't access what's underneath the hood, let's go ahead and talk about what's powering this model. So we have two dual electric motors, one at the front and one at the rear, to have a full all-wheel drive system, producing 650 horsepower and 811 pound-feet of torque for this M70, which is up from the old M60 that it replaced. Now, the overall range depends, so you can get around 285 miles of range or 303 miles of range, and that depends solely on the wheel option. So let's go ahead and talk about this model really quick. So first and foremost, it's gotten a LCI treatment. So we're gonna get new headlights. So up at the front, we got these new full LED headlights that have the DRLs like what we see in the M4 and the M3 with the snake fangs on either side. You do have your turn indicators that do pulse in the orange effect or amber effect. We also have our projector light right back there and an LED cornering light. So whenever you turn the corner, that does come on. And then the front fascia has gotten a complete redesign. So front and center is the new kidney grille that mimics that of what we see in the full-fledged M products that have the horizontal slots for the kidney grills. Now they do have a little bit of that same dynamic design element. This does have the self-healing front end design, so if you do scratch it, it still has that functionality. And then we have the iconic glow that goes around the kidney grille, and it looks really good, especially at nighttime. We get the new M badging right there at the top portion. We got your 360 degrees camera right side, front and center, and in this lower portion where the air does flow underneath to go ahead and add some cooling for those battery packs is right there. So it looks very nice and sharp, kind of mimics what we see on the new M5 product. And then over here we have a little bit of a new design for the side air area. So now with the facelifted version of the iX, they now included a Sport as a base trim and then an M Sport package. This is the M70, so it's gonna still have, like the M Sport design philosophy with a little bit of different front grille design, but we do have some air outlets to go around the wheels to help with overall aerodynamics. But other than that, not much has changed with the hood design. On the side section over here, we do have the 22-inch wheels. So these are finished, and believe it or not, it's finished in a gunmetal gray design over a black one, and I really like the way this looks, especially against this dune gray design. We do have the M badging on the side, and behind that we find the M brake caliber finish in red. You can go ahead and option in a blue one if you desire to, and I think if you can option in a black one if I'm not mistaken. So continuing on with the overall side profile, as you see, it's a very nice design. This is basically almost the same exact size as what an X5 would be like. So this is almost like an X5 EV version, if you must. But as you see, flush door handles, they do have that power button actuator. You can go ahead and actually proximity close it right here in the front section. Below that, we do find a gloss black design for the lower door sill section, and it looks really nice. I like the fact that we even have frameless window design for this model, full-on gloss black around the window housing, as well as the mirror caps with your LED turn signals incorporated right there, 360 degrees camera as well. Now, I want to talk about the battery capacity for this model. So since this is the M70, the battery capacity is 112.8 kilowatt hours. Now, I believe that's good for about 113 kilowatt hours. And when it comes to DC fast charging, it does take from 10% to 80% in 35 minutes, which is an improvement over the last model year, which I'm really happy to report that they went ahead and actually have done a lot of changes when it comes to that. Now, getting to the rear design, as you see, the taillights haven't really changed too much, but they do look really sharp, especially with this kind of translucent design that we have over here, kind of like a frosted design that's going on with these rear taillights. You have your turn signals that will go ahead and illuminate there. They are finished in red at the rear for this model. And then you got your M70 badging right over here off to the right, BMW logo with your rear camera and an iX badging on that side. Now at the lower part of this model, we do have a unique diffuser to this M70 model. The regular version of the iX with the M Sport package doesn't get this rear end design. It's more for aerodynamics to go ahead and help with overall drag and coefficient. We do have your reverse light right down in the middle as well, but it looks very nice. I like the overall shape of this model. And when you open up the rear cargo area, it is a lift gate and it's a clamshell, so it's going to cover up like this whole section. Now, one of the cool things about the iX, which is a bespoke platform, is that you have carbon fiber tub for this model. So you'll see some elements incorporated into the door section and even here, which is going to help with overall lightness for this model. So this model does have a weight of over 6,000 pounds. So just to let you guys know that. And then since the actual tail lights are incorporated into the clamshell, US DOT and other countries require you to have an actual light function right here. So you're gonna have your full light section, just in case if you're off the side of the road, to let pedestrians know that you do have a car. So as you see, tons of overall cargo space back here, a lot of width as well. We have some more storage space underneath here, so you can go ahead and put your charging cables. And then we can even flip this up a little bit to add maybe, I don't know, probably some other stuff if you need to desire to do that, but overall size is pretty good. And then as you see, we do have a tonneau cover up there and a tonneau cover over here, so it is completely covered and nobody can get into the rear section. Full LED rear lights at the back. We even have a hook right here for your grocery hooks, 12-volt outlet on either side, and we can release the rear seats right here. So once you do that, they do release back there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the rear section, pressing on that button right there to go ahead and release the door. It's a nice hefty door, and we do have a thicker style finish for this rear window. So even though it is a frameless design, we still have a little bit of thickness to go ahead and quiet up the overall cabin space. But like I mentioned, you will find some carbon fiber around the vehicle, carbon fiber tub, since this model is in a bespoke platform. Now over here we do have a nice chestnut interior design with soft touch at the very top. We even get ambient lighting across the whole entire top section right here to go ahead and light up. Bowers & Wilkins speaker system right there, your door release button. You also have your window switchgear finished in a gloss back design, which is a huge improvement over the 2025 and before model years, which I'm very happy to report. Nice little cloth design right here to go around here, which most people won't actually touch. And you do have your emergency release door section right here, just in case if you get stuck in the back. You do also have a large compartment to go ahead and put a bottle of water and some other stuff right there. But as you see, with the seats folded down, it does have a little bit of a hump, but it's not too much. It's actually very, very good. These seats, you know, easily can go up. Let's get into the rear seats. So sitting behind myself at 6 foot tall, well, 5'10", I should say. Tons of overall leg room, as you see right there, and headroom. Even though we have this glass roof, which we'll talk about when we get into the front, it's really good because it's pushed inward and not outward, so it doesn't intrude into the overall compartment space and head space, which is very nice to see. And these seats are very, very plush. I love the way these seats feel. Putting up this seat as well, as you see right there, we do have the nice diamond quilted leather right here. We also have the Isofix design for the seats, so you can go ahead and actually put the child seats at the back. Lowering this section, you will find your cup holders right there in the middle. Nice soft padding everywhere. And then over here we do have your tri-zone climate control with rear outboard heated seats, which is a huge benefit. Opening up this section, you can buy an accessory to add an iPad if your kids are sitting behind you, and you do have a USB Type-C charging port on either end. But it is fantastic back here, very spacious. I love how this car feels. It's very airy and not claustrophobic, what you find in other models. And another benefit is that you do have B-pillars mounted vents. So not only do you have vents here, which you can go ahead and control it and open it up, but you can go ahead and have vents on either side, which is a huge benefit for the rear occupants. But let's go ahead and get into the front. So getting into the front, let's go ahead and open up the door. As you see, same exact design. We do have a thicker design for the actual window section, and it is frameless like I mentioned, but you do have even this little section of window that will help with visibility looking downward. Now we find soft padding up at the top, just like we saw on the rear. We have a preset for your control seats right here with the diamond design for the seat controls. I really like this feature that BMW has implemented since we saw the G05 X5. You do have your door lock and unlock right there. You're open for your door, and then we have your window switchgear as well as your child rear lock system, as well as the control for your side wind mirrors that can be folded in and power operated. Nice same cloth design over here, and tons of lower cubby space with a release for the cargo area, trunk style, and you even have more section right there to put maybe a large bottle of water. But let's talk about these seats right here, because for the 2026 model year, they've actually added an improvement of adding in better bolstering around the torso section for this model, which I am so happy, because the previous iX did not have a ton of overall support when it came to the torso section and even the thigh section. It wasn't that good. So now we have a section where it hugs you very well on your thighs as well as your torso, and it looks really nice. A fixed headrest right here. We even had a little cutout for the rear section. And then getting inside, closing up the door, let's go ahead and start this puppy up. So as you hear, that is the startup for BMW's electric model. So it is designed by Hans Zimmer. I'm sure that many of you know for his composures of many things, including Modern Warfare 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about what we see here. So we get a new steering wheel, nice 9-3 grip area with the M color logo around for the stitching, M badging right down the middle. We even get this nice gunmetal gray that mimics the same exact design that we saw on the wheels. Now over here we have a little bit of a gunmetal gray finish around this section that you can go ahead and control your cruise control, and then your media control right over here off to the side. We can even change the design for this 12.3 inch gauge cluster, so you could change the layout to have it whichever way you desire, which is very nice to see that BMW still has a ton of customizations for any of these things. And even the heads-up display can have a ton of different customizations for this model. I am so happy to see that BMW continues to innovate and actually add in a ton of things. So we can even do AR, which is pretty sick. But anyways, 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster right in the middle. And then over here to the right, you will find the 14.9 inch touchscreen display. So this is riding on the iDrive 8.5. It is the latest version of iDrive. Pretty good, snappy, has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is very beneficial. And then we can go ahead and actually search charging sites through the system. So if you have the navigation implemented into here, if you were to go ahead and go to Orlando, it will actually show you exactly where you need to charge up, and even tells you if you have any areas to go ahead and eat at. So shopping districts, I know there's a Target near here that will have a Whole Foods, so that does have the charging site, and you can go ahead and charge while you also shop, which is a huge benefit as well. We do have your controls over here for your ventilated, heated, and heated steering wheel, and I'm really happy to see that we have a 3-way heated steering wheel for this model. Now, if we get into the sub menus right here, as you see, we do have a lot of menus, but if you want to get to a hotkey, press that button right there, and we can actually change a lot of things. So we can go ahead and change the backrest section. If we go back over here, we can go ahead and change the lumbar support. So we do have a 4-way lumbar support, and then the bolstering. So we can increase it to hug you a little bit better, a little bit more sportier driving design. We even get massaging front seats. So we can go ahead and have an intensified, active relaxation, revitalization, and invigorating, which is pretty nice to see that we have a ton of different options for these massaging seats. And in the exterior lighting, we can change all that here as well. Let's go ahead and get into the interior lighting, because we do have ambient lighting for this model, so you can change the colors. We have multiple colors to choose from you know, regular blues to pink to, you know, yellow design. I primarily like to have it in an indigo design, but you can even increase the brightness and also turn off the actual, if you're driving at night, to dim it so it doesn't hurt your eyes whenever you're driving. So it is a huge benefit for this model, and everything's in here. It's very seamless. Once you get used to it, I mean, you're probably gonna really like this overall design for the touchscreen display. And then over here we do have your air vents. You can go ahead and control them. They're pretty good, very fast, and I'm glad that we don't have something where you have to go into the display and actually dictate where you want the airflow to go, which I don't understand why Tesla does that, but you know, BMW, thank God they don't do that. You do have your emergency light controls right there. It will light up, and then your vents increase right on either side of it. Pretty good interior space. This center console, we still have the iDrive widget right here to go ahead and actually get to different parts of the interior, and also I'm saying mostly of the iDrive system, but it's actually not too far away from the driver itself. You know, it's pretty adequate, especially if, you know, you have long arms like me myself. But down here we do have the start stop button. We have a glass control for your drive modes or your drive select, which we go ahead and put it into reverse. As you see, it does have trajectory. It does have the sound whenever you are reversing, because this is an electric vehicle, and it can park itself in a dedicated parking spot or even reverse itself, because this vehicle does have that reverse functionality. Now we do have the neutral, and we also have drive and B mode. So B mode is kind of like regenerative braking to go ahead and help with overall efficiency and give you the ultimate amount of range for this model, which is really nice to see. We have little hotkeys right here to get to your actual camera system. So if you press that button right there, it will pop up the camera system to let you know whenever you're doing that reverse function. We even have another hotkey right here: drive mode, chassis, iconic sound, drive off support, hill descent control, and lane departure warning, as well as charging. And then over here we do have the air suspension. So this model will go ahead and higher up itself and then lower itself whenever, depending on the mode you're in. So if we go over here to my modes: personal, sport, efficiency, expressive, relax, digital art, and silence, which is really good to see. I primarily, if I'm going to be driving an M product or M performance model, I'm always going to be driving into sport. And once you do that, everything kind of livens up. The augmented sound that comes in here that Hans Zimmer created actually carries forward and makes it a more pleasure performance experience within the cabin space. But everything else right here, very nice. You have the hotkeys for every single section, and you have your volume control button. Opening up here, as you see, it is a nice large glove compartment, not glove compartment, center compartment area where you can go ahead and put a lot of things, which is nice to see. And then the little section right here to put maybe like your wallet or anything else. And then down below here, as you see, you will find your wireless charging pad where you can go ahead and put your key fob right there and leave it there, and 2 cup holders on either side. And thank goodness we do have a glove compartment that is not having to be controlled into this section, which is pretty nice. As you see, tons of overall space in there, lined with felt, and it is damped as well. But overall interior space is very nice. We even get a nice little section right here to go ahead and open up the sun visor section, LED lighting. Let's see if it goes ahead and backs up. Nope, it does not go ahead and actually go back, but as you know, so be it. This is the glass roof. So the glass roof first premiered within the iX model, but this one does have also the fact that you could frost it. So if you don't want to have any ambient lighting coming in from the exterior, you could just put that button right there and it will frost the overall top section of the glass. Now, it is very tinted from the factory, so ultimately I don't really see the necessity to have the frosted section, but it is a benefit if you so desire to have that. All these widgets right here will go ahead and control your light, your dome, dome lights, and then you have an actual dedicated button to get into the interior light section. So it's going to be up here. You also get a selfie camera right there to go ahead and take some pictures of yourself. You also have a SOS button, and that's all she wrote when it came into the interior. But overall, huge upgrades within the interior. I really like these seats and how much they hug you, especially around the bolstering side, or the torso side, I should say. Very nice overall presence of seeing outside of the vehicle, large side windows, large front window. It's just fantastic. I think this is a really good vehicle within its segment. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take it out for a drive. All right, so let's go ahead and put into drive. It's very straightforward and down, and let's set off to drive this beast. Now, like I mentioned, this model does feature a dual electric motor, which is the all-wheel drive, or what BMW likes to call X-Drive. This one produces 650 horsepower and 811 pound-feet of torque, which is up from the old M60 variant that it replaces, which is a huge benefit. Battery capacity is around 112.8 kilowatt hour battery, and then it takes about 10 to 80% in 35 minutes, which is actually pretty good to hear. Overall range for this model, whenever it comes to the highest amount, you have to go for the smaller wheel size in order to go ahead and actually get that. That will give you 303 miles of range. With the larger 22-inch wheels that this model comes with, you're looking around 285 miles of overall range. But setting off, very nice overall comfortability in this model. I really like how this car feels with the suspension. It does have a dynamic suspension as well as a air suspension for this model, which is a huge plus when it comes to a luxury electric SUV like this model. And it even feels really good. We have rear steering, so it will go ahead and actually help out whenever you are driving this model, but it's very, very, very beneficial to the driver, and we will see that right here once we set off. So putting it off to sport mode, let's go ahead and go around this guy. Holy crap, the way that thing just launches is insane. Whoa. The way it pushed me back into the seat as I went around that tow truck right there is just ridiculous. Like, even going, let's see how it feels going over this bump. Really good. Oh. You see, I've driven a ton of electric vehicles. I've driven a Rivian R1S, or actually R1, yeah, R1S with the quad motor, and this just feels really holy crap. That is one thing I love about electric vehicle, is that you just have a ton of overall torque that just punches you right in the gut, and it feels good because it's all those G's just hitting you. I mean, it's just one thing that I love, because I am a huge fan of, you know, like race cars and everything like that. That I love the amount of G's that you feel instantly whenever you go ahead and press that accelerator. It is spontaneous. And we do have the one pedal driving, so once you take your foot off the accelerator, it will begin to brake. So let's see how it feels going around this corner right here. Oh my God, it just brings me such happiness and joy that, you know, as a person who has loved cars, I'm a huge automotive fan. Having something like that where it just drags you back into your seat, even as the driver, is something else. It is the best feeling when it comes to, you know, driving a vehicle, and this just feels phenomenal. Hats off to the BMW team for continuously improving upon their electric models. And you know, I've driven the i4 M50, I think it was the M40 if I'm not mistaken. That was a fun, actually no, M50, because they just changed it to M60. That was a great car to drive. That was a dual electric motor making around almost 500 horsepower. It felt extremely great. 650 horsepower for an electric model. I can only imagine what it's going to be like when BMW releases a full-fledged M electric vehicle in the coming years. I mean, we already know that there is an M3 that is coming with a quad electric motor in the near future, and I cannot wait to get my hands on something like that. I mean, if this is what we can experience come forward with BMW's performance lineup, I can only imagine. It is going to be spontaneous. It's something that many enthusiasts that like electric cars have been waiting for BMW to create a full-fledged M vehicle so they can have a different choice. You know, there still will be a gas version of, an M3, but you can get an M3 that's going to be electric, making almost 1,200 horsepower from the factory, which is just crazy and unheard of. But man, this is a great vehicle to drive. I really love this turning in radius. It feels sharp, precise. This is phenomenal. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, if you guys are interested in purchasing any BMW or even Mini, make sure to contact BMW South Miami. They'll be able to assist you. See you all later. Peace.